want to analyze or we want to look into our specialization, our interest in the field. So we will have to create some topic or advice. So for this reason, first and foremost, the words of advice to create time for research. Yes, since we are already on November, and maybe by next month of January you present your FYP. So more or less, you should make up your mind by now. You have your topic, you have the flow. So this will be refreshed, and hopefully your final year project will meet the flow. Okay, to identify your research topic, so what will be your area field of studies? So for those who are in agrotech, so they will focus for agrotech, and for those in food security, they will look into toward food security. And for SBP and also SBH, based on their field of studies, meaning that they focus on their field, but nevertheless it will be a social science. So, what area would you feel that you want to liquid your estate? So, who is your target or who is your respondents? Is it students? Is it farmers? Is it consumers? Is it food outlets? So, who are them? So, you must make sure those who is within your frame of interest in doing your research. And so, what aspect you will look into it? So, for in social science, we are more looking toward the behavior of the respondents in answering our survey questions. So for your information, this is a quantitative research. It's not a quali. So if we are quali, I have to present another slides. So I'm looking more toward the quanti. So in quanti, we have the behavior, the knowledge, and acceptance. So these three can become we can say the DV or the dependent variable. I'll tell you more pertaining this dependent variable and also the independent variable. So exploration of research topics. So in nevertheless, you have to have a topics that there is an issue pertaining the topic. So what is the issues of the topic? A good example would be like previously I did a research pertaining halal. So the issue arise pertaining the Cadbury. So Cadbury, some 5 years ago, the issues that the Cadbury was not halal. So we did a research, and eventually we found out that the not non halal was not in Malaysia, but rather it was overseas. And also the decision made by the person who did the lab research cannot become the prime source because it was done only from one shelf. Rather, it should be done from the factory, for the main factories. So what would be so the issues of this is the problem is that the particularly Muslims in Malaysia, they are doubtful about the halal status of Cadbury. So that is an issue because most of consumers are being deceived by the halal labels. So currently there are numbers of halal labels in the market. So people don't know which one is the right and correct one. Okay, that comes from the problems. So you have to create your problems. So nevertheless, the problems and the objectives should be related. So you have also have the theoretical problems. So what is here? You're going to see the empirical studies relating to what aspects. So are you more or less we focus toward the behavior model. So here we're going to research the impact of the customers towards certain products, certain food or whatever, in order for them to give a preferable answers. So we have to select, yes, and we will support with theoretical framework, which I'll show you later on the coming slides. So we also have to know the research gap. So the gaps in the theoretical model, what is the new in the proposed model? So eventually, anything you need to have a novelty. What can it contribute to the knowledge to the future people? So it should be something significant, something relevant that people can learn from your research. So any new methods, if we don't have a new methods, normally at degree level, we would say we adapted. We adapted from past research, and we renew it. We renew the research because maybe consumer differs, maybe people upgrade. Like if you are doing research pertaining Coca-Cola, the diabetes among the consumers pertaining Coca-Cola products. So the consumer 10 years ago would not be same as currently. Because currently we have a numbers of Coca-Cola products. Coca-Cola vanilla, Coke stevia, what Coke less sugar and what. So 10 years ago, they were not in the market. They were only the main products of Coca-Cola. So what can this be contribute to the new knowledge and other gaps which can be contribute in these studies. Nevertheless, our research should be supported by other researchers which is relevant with our studies. So that is why the flow of the answer or the writing should be follow the methods of your objectives. So the preparation of the thesis. So you have your background of studies. This is where you introduce your topic. You define it. You after you define it, you will describe what is happening globally and not. So normally in our topic we have two parts. One is the general information and the other is more specific focus. Why are we choosing that place, for instance? So that will be another issue. So then we'll have our statement of the problem. As I said, the problem should have a reference. So meaning one problem, one paragraph, and should be related with your objectives. And you have your research question. Normally question like what determine the users towards halal products, intention or what so. So it is more relevant with the research objective, the RO research objective, which normally we want to explore, want to determine, we want to look into the studies. Some people said objectives are two, minimum we can say two, but normally what I tell my students is to do three. Yeah? Three, I'll show you an example later on. And then what will be the contribution of the study? So we should put the contribution to uh, people of the surrounding nation and also globally. What can this study give impact to the government policies or what so? And then we'll have our literature review. This is where we put our theoretical framework. And as I mentioned earlier, the LR is to answer our objectives. And we have our theoretical and analytical models, the models that will support our study. Nevertheless, in any research, we need to have a models. This model will become like a framework, guideline in our study. If you don't have your framework, so we don't know how it begins and how it ends. What will be the factors and what so. So normally, students they will adapt the existing models that exist in these studies. So and then you have your methodology. So now this part actually, I think you have completed your FFP1. You have present in June or July, if I've forgotten the date. So hopefully it won't be any problems pertaining that. So nevertheless, this is where as I said, we define the topics, the introductions. If you feel that your introduction is not good, try to meet the requirement. So remember, normally in the introduction part, we put our reference based on authentic sources. Authentic sources would be like from let's say the Department of Statistics, from Department of Agriculture, Department of Animals, and what so. So these are more authentic sources which we put in our chapter one. We put like for instance encyclopedia, dictionaries. So these are authentics. Only in the problem statement is where we put the journal authors reference. We put the names of the authors and the year the paper was being published. But in other parts, all the journals that you have looking will go into chapter 2. Okay, the statements of problem, as I stated, you have to have your topics, what will be the issues of your problems, and I said it should be relevant with your objective, and the problems nevertheless need to have reference. So we want to make sure and try to find latest one, 5 years from now. 5 years, that will be the maximum. Let's say now is 2021, 2016 until now. So try to get the how can we get the problems. We look at how the previous researchers solved the problems. So if not, then we try to solve the problem. Let's say you are doing something pertaining the issues of cookies, the cookies of Nestle. Maybe you have relevant information of Nestle. So you're doing a research. So what will be the issues of Nestle? So is it the issues of the ingredients? Then you have to find problems pertaining the issues of the ingredients of the Nestle products. Okay, we go for the research questions and also hypothesis objective. So some student ask me whether it is required or not research question. I'm not saying it is a compulsory, but it is suggested, positively suggested to have your research questions. We will deduct your marks if your RO is enough. So RQ is not required, but nevertheless we suggested you to put the RQ. So the RQ should clearly reflect the problem statement. Yes. Whatever your problems, so it should be related with your RQ. And it is based on objectives, as I said earlier, and to find ways of, this is an example, to find ways of participation of farmers. How we want to analyze into the issues of farmers to participate in technology. Uh, Currently, my FYP students are doing research pertaining IoT, the Internet of Things. How can farmers themselves participate in IoT in their farms? Are they positive, friendly user, or are they negatively users? Are they more or are they reluctant to use it? So there we will find out pertaining these issues of Internet of Things application in the farms. So examples of research objective is that we can put, as I said, to identify, to determine, to assess. These are the starting words, the starting words that we put in our RO to make sure that RO is what we're going to do the research. And for instance, he gave me to examine the attitude of farmers in participating in IoT in the farm, for instance. I will show you the examples. Okay, this is an example objective did by your senior FYP last year. They are currently they are convo now. So this is their the students' objective to determine the level participation of young entrepreneur in halal food products in Malacca, to investigate the relationship of attitude, norms, and perceived behavior control toward young entrepreneur participating in halal food product. So if you see here attitude, subjective norm, and perceived behavior, this is from a framework which we call Theory of Planned Behavior from Isaiah 1991. So here looking towards the relationship of these three IV towards the youth, young entrepreneurship participation. Participation will be the DV. The DV depend from the IV. Uh, and finally, the most influential factor of young factor. So among the three factors, which is the most influential that influence the young entrepreneur in participating the halal products. Okay. So as I said, the significance of studies. So here you have to contribute something new that can become a novelty to other or future researchers. So meaning that it is something relevant, can be practiced into the real world, can be applied. So normally people, by having this notification, manufacturers and government policy, they are more alert pertaining the tendency or the desire of the respondents. What will be the respondents wants? So the numbers of respondents has several researchers said you're looking for individual respondents should be above than 50, 50 but some said minimum 30. So if we said 30 justified by Rusco, we said by 100 is justified by Klein 2006. So they are the person who suggested that the number should be in this particular number. So if below it 20 or 10, it will not be sufficient for a quantitative research. Okay, the literature review. Okay, the aim of literature review is to inform the reader what previous research has been done on the topic. So more or less, the LR is what we answer our objective. Kalau we agree with this objective, these three objective, so this will be we can say 2.1 lah. The level participation of young entrepreneurs in a halal food product market. So all relevant journals pertaining this will be go under 2.1 under the literature review topic. And then the relationship of attitude will go for 2.2. And then the influence factor will become 2.3. So this is the flow. 2.1 will be the introduction, meaning you stated there the flow of your FYP. Okay. Okay, on top that you have your theoretical models that you will put into 2.4. Where 2.1 is instruction, 2.2 objective 1, 2.3, 2.5. Sorry, 2.5 will be your framework models. So what models are you using based on your objective? So which comes first? Is it the objective or is it the framework? So normally certain researchers said we have to have the framework first. So if we agree to use this framework, this model framework, then it can be applied in our objective. So if we design objective without knowing what method we are using or what framework, so it become problematic lah. It will become an issue later on. Okay, literally what previous research. So nevertheless, I said the previous research should support your LR. So each paragraph will describe an issue or a successful research on that topic. Let's say you are doing a topic pertaining orchid. So your orchid survey among the combo punya apa participation. So kita buat survey, we do a survey among the parents who come for the combo, and we said please fill in this survey. We try to look at our orchid. How is your response to our orchid sales? You appreciate it or not? So so what happened to your LR? Your LR will support previous research pertaining orchid regarding the behavior model. So how relevant are these conclusions to the journal for your own research? So no doubt the previous conclusion can become part and partial of your LR, meaning that when you look into people's journal, after you go through the journal, you look at the conclusion. So the conclusion of that study can be part and partial of your LR. Right? How does your research build on your previous research? How is it similar or different? So in degree level, normally we imitate, but as I said, we upgrade the information by having latest journal citation lah. And so we know issues will be different from past. So how has previous research influenced your research method and methods? So as I said, it will influence you a lot, because why? Those previous research will help in your finding of your framework. A good example will be, suddenly you found out that based on your study, you found out that attitude is the most influential factor, which is true. Most of the journals you find attitude is the IV that support the DV mostly compared to the norms and the perceived behavior control. So those previous research will support in your statement saying that attitude is high. Eh? Or you do some research pertaining the relationship kan, relationship between your income and your norms, for instance. So you found out in previous study also someone did a research, different angle, but doing the same thing, the Pearson correlation, which is described. So normally in Pearson correlation, we will support our hypothesis. Hypothesis whether to accept or to reject it. Okay, never mind, we'll see. I'll show you an example later on. What theories, models, or practices were particularly relevant to paper or analyze your research topic and findings? Yes, as I said earlier, the models should be relevant with your flow of LR. So no doubt, the models should be relevant with your studies. Jangan sometimes we are focusing to one issue that is fast food. Ataupun we could say any uh, apa kata, products in the market. So our model should be previous research pertaining the issues. Janganlah kita pun tulis models kan. We agree to use TPB. So we just define TPB is this between norms, attitude, perceived behavior. No, that is not the answer. The answer here is that the previous models have did this research maybe in other places or other products. So meaning that you just have to cite or not copy paste, you rewrite it and bring into your LR. Uh, bring into your LR in your theoretical framework that is 2.5. So you should support your studies. So this is example of the TPB. We have the this is we call the IV. They are independent variable, and this is the DV. So what is this? Why we have this? So this is a mediator. So before we reach this, we have to go here, and then the intention we put. Like you're going to the supermarket. You go to the supermarket and you want to buy a cornflake. So your attitude said, okay, I have the attitude to purchase this cornflake. Based on the experience, you say cornflake is more tastier than Cocoa Crunch. So your norms, your families also support it, and your perceived behavior stated yes. And all this will influence your intention, keinginan you. And this will give impact to your behavior. So normally, if we do have like this, we should have question pertaining attitude, pertaining norms, perceived behavior, intention, and also behavior. So what I told my student, we delete this part, and we just from here to here, here to here. If we have like this, we have to describe more. Okay. Okay, this is an example of an LR. Right? Okay, this is the most influencing factor, which is objective 3. So here we have the statement, knowledge and familiarity with products was the most influential factor. Nampak perkataan factor tadi kat situ kan? In Muslim consumers. So it is written by Hamdan et al. Because it's more than 3%, we like et al. In 2017. Religious plays an important role in determining consumers' food choices. So religion also is a factor that influence consumer in choosing the products. So just if you prepare your slide, do like this. It looks simple and understandable. Don't put the input in table is more easier. Ini statement dia, ini penulis dia, cukup. Setengah orang dia tambah satu lagi sini. Apa dia ni? Dia statistik. Dia kata kat sini orang ni guna factor analysis. Okey lah, bagus lah. Kan? Ataupun orang ni guna Pearson correlation, dia tulis kat sini. So that can be done, no doubt, but this is enough. This is enough for you to present like this. Okay, the methodology, as I said, we want to inform readers of our all what we adopted, what framework we agree. So do we agree of TPB? So we adopted the TPBs because we found out that TPB is relevant with our studies. There are others like KAP and others. Okay, we want to discuss objective. Yes, as I mentioned earlier, our purpose of studies is to make sure we fulfill our objectives. So how will be participants involved? So how many are them? Who are they? What type of sampling are you using? Is it random or non-random sampling? Is it probability or non-probability? You dah tahu tak? Do you know your respondents or you don't know? If you know, then this is the question. If you know your respondents, then how can you randomly choose if you know? So randomly, you must say, let's say in the class there is 50 students. You know all the 50. Kamu kenal semua. You know all your students who are 50 in the class. But you choose randomly. Among the 50, you just take 30 of them because in order for a study, we need 30 respondents. So it can be like the odd, the odd. Siapa yang ganjil, dia lah kena. So 135 will be the respondents of your research. For instance, that is will be. So you know your it is not a non-probability, it's a probability, but it's a random sampling. So there are numbers of sampling. There are snowballs. So when I did my thesis in PhD, I did the structural random sampling. Apa maksud structural? Because the samples have 3 different types. They are the rich, the moderate, and the poor. So how do I analyze this? I analyze them. Is it based on jam tangan atau handphone? Siapa guna iPhone, orang kaya tak? Bukan. It's not through that. So sebab ada orang miskin pun beli iPhone kan. So what happened is that I based on the housing area. So the housing area of the bungalows, mansion or whatever is considered the high income. And then for those in terrace house, rumah terrace, 2 tingkat, so they consider as the middle income or moderate level. So for the low income would be rumah pangsa, PPR, projek perumahan rakyat termiskin. Those who earn below than 3,000. Ada orang kaya duduk rumah miskin? Mungkin ada. Adalah orang seorang dua entah macam mana entah. Dia suka duduk rumah that low house. Tapi we look at the larger scale that this is the structural sampling model. Or if any of you want to use this, you can look into the Google pertaining the structural sampling model. Okay, the methods, we have the primary and the secondary. Primary is your survey. This is where you meet your respondent. Secondary data is you taking other data. Other data has been done, suddenly you found and the person has already analyzed and published. But nevertheless, it can be support to you. Normally, secondary data is on your LR lah. Okay, bear with me. We have few more slides. Okay, target sample number, as I said, you have to have numbers. Better to have 100 and above for individual respondent. But if you go for entrepreneurs, 50 would be enough. So where and when did you collect data? So you should have your date frame. This is why you have your table in planning to collect your data and then analyze it. So what will be the problems? Surely, briefly you can describe the problems. Maybe people are reluctant to answer. When I send my students to the KB airport to do survey, they met a person who eventually gave a talk to them pertaining the issue. The research was pertaining the halal food in airlines, in low-income airlines. So we managed to publish the paper. If you want to see the paper, you can open my Google Scholar and you can find there through there. Okay, this is the simple flow, the methodology. We have the framework. So what is the difference between the LR framework and the methodology framework? So in the LR framework is the theory, is the belong to others. In conceptual framework is yours. That is where you put the word adopted. And then you have your hypothesis. Normally hypothesis is between IV, DV or uh, apa ni, the demographic factor. Demographic is age, income, race, religion. Those are the demographic factor. And then you have your frameworks, and you will have your reliability to show whether it is um, suitable or not. Your sampling size, yes, all these should be included in your methodology. Okay, these are a few writing tips. Good writers continue to revise and rewrite until they are satisfied. So you have to rewrite, recheck, make sure, and don't forget your turning in should be below than 25. I don't know if you have 20 better. Student of mine, she got 11. 11 is good. So maybe some of you can got below than 11 is considered very good. So talk to people about your research, explain them. So you have to find experts who knows about the studies, find the details in journals and what so to support your research. Okay, always keep in mind the center point of finding your report. Emphasize to this in your writing. Yes, so you should support it in your writing. Okay, coming back the flow. When you write your LR, as I said, the issues should be one paragraph. You say that the issue is relevant, it can be in the same paragraph. So let's say you are talking about the issue of insects, the insects towards the banana plantation. So let's say it is happening in Sri Lanka, and then you want to emphasize it is happening also in Jeli, Kelantan. The research done, let's say the research done by by Farah, 2016. So research done pertaining the flood in Kelantan in 2014. So this also can be in a paragraph because the statements are similar. Okay, a sentence may look correct and clear, but often sound jumbled. Okay, the issues that sometimes we put everything in a certain paragraph. So each paragraph has their own reference or citation. So make sure that you don't jingle or campur aduk lah. You are making it so uh, difficult to understand. Make sure the flow look nice. Okay, concern about your spelling, grammar, try to get your session proofread. Yes, if you want proofread, you better to have proofread to avoid your examiner to be apa kata headache. So it's good to have in the flow. So your supervisor should go through many times lah, and you can ask them, shall my FYP go for proofread or not? So proofread is good things to enables re- examiners like me. Let's say I'm reading your paper, right? So my headache or my thinking of what is this is will be less and reduced. So I will just look at the points rather looking at grammar. So grammar is important. Make sure you can ask your SB, how is the flow. Your SB should take time in reading your work. Okay, this is example of the data collection survey in Pahang, Temelloh, Raub, Lipis, Bentong, and Maran. This is a student of mine, graduated in 2019. I don't know if you know Firas. Firas yang jual apa tu salad bar at the canteen tu. This is his batch. Okay, jackfruit farmers in appointed districts. So this is an issues pertaining um, jackfruit nangka been done by districts but on their own without having a relationship with any government authority like pharma. So the sample technique is purposive and objective. So meaning that purposive secara kebetulan purposive. So anyone can become the target is non-probability. So the respondents are 170 jackfruit. So it is stated here. So when you present later on, buat macam ni, buat gambar macam ni. Sample size should larger than 30 and less than 500 stated by Sabir et al. 2014. Or a sample should be more than 100 for factories to proceed ahead. Boleh So each of your analyze you should have apa tu? This is your apa ni? Your presentation will be like this, but in your writing also you should have like this. At all, sub it all. So maybe some of us, why 70? So you should Sabel said 30 and above is considered good. Okay. So 170 like this one. So you can say Hair 2010 stated a good research is above 100 respondents. Okay, clear? Okay, this is the flow of your analyze. You have to describe this in your methodology. So these are the analysis that you're going to do. Descriptive analysis, this is where you describe the frequency, percentage, and also the mean of your respondents. The flow will be like your age, the income, the religion, the education level. All this will be on your descriptive analysis. The reliability, okay, reliability is that we want to measure your questionnaire. Normally in quantitative, we suggested to use Likert scale, between 1 to 5 or 1 to 7. 1 will be the strongly disagree and 5 will be strongly agree. 3 will be neutral. So how we want to show whether it's reliable or not? Make sure based on your SPSS, you get 0.6 and above. 0.6 consider your analysis is reliable. So what happens if you get 0.2? So your analysis is unreliable. So you have to find, maybe you find a wrong respondents, or your question is not relevant with your studies. So make sure that if you have your own question, you should need to do pilot test. Then you go for your reliable. But if you adapted question from other, let's say you found Dr. Zul punya thesis, and you found my thesis, and you copy paste my thesis. You should put there my name, don't forget. That is where you adapted the question, so you don't need pilot test. Because you adapted from other or previous researcher. Okay, Pearson correlation, which I described here, is a relationship between socio-demographic, age, gender, education, and independent variable, which is attitude or norm or perceived behavior. Meaning to say, one part is the the age, the income, and one part will be the attitude. If it is 0.6, we reject the hypothesis. If it is above, then we do not reject. So it can become below or above. We'll see it. Okay. This is the framework. As I said, we delete yang tengah kan. The center one we delete kan. The intention just now kan. So we have here the attitude, the norms, and the perceived behaviors are all IV. And the dependent variables are the, here we said perception. So certain lecturer, they say, oh, if you use perception, then use the knowledge, attitude, and perception model, KAP model. Maybe some of you knows about this KAP model, you can use that. Okay, this is the flow of chapter 4 based on your objective. You have your descriptive, the one you said, your age, your income, your religion, that is descriptive, percentage, mean, and also frequency. Then you have reliability, 0.6 and above, Pearson correlation, 0.05 and below. And then factor analysis should be percentage above 50%, the variance levels. I'll show you later on. Okay, in your conclusion, you have your research conclusion, implication studies, what will impact. So these are examples of your conclusion, your slide. This is your first objective kan, yang tadi level of participation, and the finding is mean score is 4.415, which is high and shows that there are levels of participation among young entrepreneurs in halal. And then we have the relationship. So we reject the null hypothesis because there are significant value between attitude, norm, perception with the young entrepreneurs. And finally is the influential factor. In this study, the person found out that perceived behavior is the influential. So in your conclusion, you put like this. So successful. And then you have your reference, following the APA standards. Okay, I'll show you examples of the students student punya presentations. Okay. Okay. Shanim boleh nampak? Shanim?
Ya, Doktor.
Nampak eh?
Nampak.
Okay, this is the topic that I said to you. I just want to show you the flow of the presentation. Okay, the influencing factor. Okay, she put the introduction. Okay, this is how she put the background. So look nice. 23. So actually, she's putting a statement from journal. Maybe the journal supported from authentic sources. Boleh juga digunakan. Okay, and then she described what is halal and what so. Okay, and then the problem statement semua ada citation all these have the citation yang entrepreneur, financial and what so. So this is the objective. Okay, and this is the hypothesis. So the person have only one hypothesis with this the objective two. Norms. Okay, H0 is no significant. So kita nak reject ni, bila kita reject ni kita accept yang bawah ni. Kalau kita tak, the word we use is we do not reject. So kalau we do not reject, maknanya kita reject yang ni lah. Kita reject yang ni. Kalau reject, kita reject yang ni. Okay. Do not reject, kita reject yang ni. We accept this one. So there is no significant value. Okay, LR. This is the framework from Eisen. Same. Okay, as I said, ni objective one dia. The statement and also the authors. This is objective 2, statement and authors. Objective 3, statement and authors. Okay, the methodology, this is the framework she's using it. See the word here, adapted. Don't forget, the word adapted model should be there. Okay, okay, the technique she's using, purposes sample. You have the map of Malacca. 85 because it's high than 30. What Sabil stated here. Okay, the analysis she's doing reliability, descriptive, normality, spearman, factor. Okay, quite a number. I think my FYP also is using the similar technique. Okay, result and discussion. Okay, see here. Reliability, table 2018 said it should be above 0.7. So she got all her result above 0.7. So the study is reliable. So you must do like this. Don't forget Shanim, jangan lupa masukkan benda ni.
Okay, doktor.
Nampak betul gitu lah.
So it will be more clear. Okay, this is the demographic, how you present in your presentation. You have your gender, age. So this all is in the SPSS. You can have your in the SPSS. How to run it, I have to have another class. This session is just to show you the flow of it. Okay, the education, courses, how they involve. Okay, I'll go. Okay, this is the how you present the descriptive. This is the statement. Okay, all your statement, you must have the word I, or you have to have the word of me or mine. Meaning it belongs to the person himself. You have already find your target responders, and then the question reflect the person who's going to answer. So here show that the mean is all above 4 is high. Semua tinggi. Okay, this statement here, you have low 2.3 below, moderate until 3.6, but high is 3.67. So this also you need to have when you present and also in your writing. Okay, this is the normally test. So between the participation, degree of freedom, we have 85 respondents, and eventually her p-value is less than 0.05, which is the Sherman. So it is good. Considers no problem. We need to have below 0.05. Okay, stated here. So Spearman relation, the attitude 0.0 to 0.19, where stated very weak and very strong will be 0.8 to 1. Okay. Okay, the two tails, the null hypothesis. So we have to put here significant, all is good. Above 0.7. So the statements here stated that all CHEMOS value 0.5 are acceptable. So they are all above 0.5. 0.8 ialah tinggi pada 0.5, 0.7, 0.8. And the significant also is 0. So do like this. Buat ini ada ada bulatan, ada benda macam ni. So when you present, it look more friendly. Okay, then we come for the factor analysis. We should stated by calendar above 0.4. So all her factor here is above 0.4, 0.9. You see 0.909, near to 1, very high. Okay, what is 69? 69 is meaning percentage. So from this statement, we know that 69% comes from the attitude of the person. Then we have the second one, which is the norm. Norm only 63. All are all more than 0.4. And we have persevere with 79, which is more higher. Okay, and then this will be the variance, greater than 50%. All are greater, so it shows that the study is relevant and useful to manufacturers, to young entrepreneurs, and also to government policy. So in addition, she did a confirmatory factor analysis. So this is the factor tadi kan, 0.8 semua tu. So it become here, bigger it. Okay, 0.9, very high. So we want 0.6 tapi dapat 0.9, 0.9 is considered high. And this is the saturated chi-square, SNMR models. All are good and high. The SMR value 0.8 to 0.1, an acceptable model of fits to 0.1 is considered appropriate and accepted. Okay. Okay, conclusion recommendations. Okay, this is the one I showed you previously. So this would be the recommendations to other states. This will be the reference and what so. Okay, I'll show you her writing, how her writings goes. Okay, bear with me. Okay. Okay, can you see? Shanim boleh nampak? Shanim boleh nampak?
Boleh nampak, Doktor.
Okay, this is the abstract. The abstract, you have to write all the details, including the responders, the method studies, and also a brief of your finding. Okay, then this is the tables. Okay. Okay, this is the background introduction in this study. Okay, just to inform the readers, the flow is like this. Mula-mula background, then problem statement, hypothesis, RQ, objective, and okay, the flow is like this. So here, the writer defined entrepreneurship because her topic is about young entrepreneurs. So then after entrepreneurship, the writer explained young entrepreneurs. Okay, you see here from SSM, from all the youth can contribute. Okay, then young entrepreneur in Malaysia. This is more focused in Malaysia. So the percentage here, so graph is you suggested positively to have graph like this to support your studies. Okay, then she focused to Melaka because study is done in Melaka. Okay, and then the halal, because the topic there is about halal. Malaysia, halal in Malaysia. This is the logo of halal, halal food products. What will be the products all, and then the problem statements comes. So you see, one paragraph, a lot of reference here. The second, so this is not a master of pages, this is a degree student, FYP. I think SBF know her, Nisa, her name is. Okay, hypothesis, as I said, she only have one hypothesis only. Okay, the research question is like this. This is how you write a research question. What is the participation level? What are the significance and what is the most influential factor? So it's like she is describing back the objective. Okay, this is the objective. Level participation relationship. Scope of study, so her study is more to youth only. So it's significant. The organization of study, okay. Okay, chapter 2, the introduction will describe the flows of the studies. And then the framework, okay. The framework belongs to others. So the theoretical frameworks, and then this is the TPB. The first objective, okay, the flow of the first objective. Second objective, okay, this is the third objective. Okay, see, there is a lot of citation here. So justify that the flow is good. And then we have the chapter summary. So you need a summary of what have you been written in chapter 2. Okay, now we go for the methodology part. You have your introduction here. So what will be you included here? So you have your first section about the framework. Then you describe your data and finally describe the analysis that you're going to use. Okay, the framework she's using is, okay, everything, the writing comes first, then the gambar, then the graph, then the figure, then the table. Okay, then your data collection, she said here 85% based on survey methods where they're going to meet the person itself. So sampling techniques, what techniques? Purposive sampling, sample size. So she support by various statement. Alan Gr said two rule of thumbs, more better. Okay, source of data, how to get the data is through interview. The instrument method, what will be your instrument method? Part 1 will be what questions, part 2, part 3, okay, the flow. And pilot study has been done, about 30 is sufficient. And this is the data analysis using SPSS and also PLS. The descriptive analysis, so what is detailed analysis? Described here, reliability should be 0.7 and above. See, this is what the pilot study lah punya result. Then we have the correlation analysis or the Pearson correlation analysis. Okay, negligible, very high. Okay, Spearman correlation analysis. Okay, Spearman factor analysis. We have chemo with above 0.6, stated by Hadi, Abdullah, and Sentosa 2016. We have the PLS yang gambar bulat-bulat kan. Okay, summary. Okay, we go for analyze. Okay, the discussion, the introduction, you describe how is the flow. Okay, this is the flow. She described everything according to table 4.1. Okay, the respondents, the percentage. Okay, this is the table pattern. So you have your variable. Jangan buat kotak tepi ni, tak perlu buat kotak. Okay, so you have your frequency, the numbers and percentage, age, marital, education, courses, type of food and what so. Okay, level of participation. So this is the first part of the questionnaire. So this is all the questions. High, all are high. So indicators strongly agree, moderate. Then the second objective, quite good. Pearson correlation of 0.0. And then third objective, okay, with this high 0.0, I think I show you on your slide just now. Okay, this is the attitudes. Factor loading, all are high except 1, 0.5 is a bit low. But nevertheless 60.9. Sometimes kita run kan, kita boleh buang yang rendah ni. The low we can delete, we run again. Kalau tapi 0.5 is okay lah, not below 0.5 lah. 4, 3 kita delete, then we run again. So make sure when you run, it should be 3 and above. Don't do 3 and below. 4 that would be good. 4, 5, 6, 7. So in her scenario, she have here 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. 9. Okay, then you have the norms. Norm is also quite high. All above 0.5, 0.63% only. And then this will be the perceived behavior, very high, 79%. So the variance all are above 50%. Then she did the confirmatory factor analysis, and this is the table I showed you just now. Okay, the model fits well in the TPB. chapter summary, you have your conclusion. Okay, the first objective, is it successful or not? And then the limitation of studies, because you're doing online kan, SOP, PKP kan, all this, and then recommendation. Okay, reference. Okay, I want to show you her questionnaire also. Okay, this is her question. Okay, before she did a survey, she did a question. Dear respondent, I'm doing academic research title. So congratulations, you were selected. Okay, thank you. Okay, this is her name. Okay, this is the flow of the questions. The questions have strongly agreed. So the person just click. She did Google form, I think. Okay. Okay, and then the demographic, you have your mail. Okay. Okay, I think that is all. Any questions that you want to ask me? So, if you don't know how to run your SPSS, you can learn from YouTube. You can go for, let's say, descriptive analysis. You can go there and type descriptive analysis, and the author will show you how to run it. And let's go for reliability, Pearson correlation, and also factor analysis. I can share you, but it will take more time because that will be longer. Okay, any questions? So make sure that your flow will look like similar like this. Let's say you I'm your examiner, so if it is like this, so I will ask a lot of questions. I will satisfy. So nevertheless, your supervisor should make sure lah. Yeah, ada soalan apa? Anyone want to ask question? We have already finished 1 hour from our time. Boleh? Syahni nak tanya apa soalan?
Dekat ni tak ada lagi doktor.
Ada Okay, others, we have a crowd here, 45 students. So any question from the floor pertaining the questions, pertaining the flow? So make sure that the flow met the requirement lah. So that students, problems here is that students, the introduction, sometimes they put in the literature review. Definition all should not be in literature review. Definition should be in your introduction. You want to define, like just now I show you entrepreneur. Entrepreneur should be in your chapter 1. Chapter 2 is how we want to focus to the objective. The objective. So, okay, that is one. So make sure each paragraph ada citation, and citation should be updated 5 years from now. The best is this year lah. If you have this year, better. Show that you are very updated lah. Okay, for chapter 3, the methods, make sure you think what sampling method are you using. So normally, because now all of you are doing online. So what is the method of online? Are you just main email je ke? Or you know your target group who? Sometimes people do about farmers. They met Jabatan Pertanian or Felda or Felkra or whatsoever. So from there, they know the respondents indirectly. So this is the basics one. So let's say you want to put more, so you must make sure it meets the objective. So kalau tak ada objektif, you nak masuk object analyze boleh, tapi panjang lah jadi. It will be more longer. So any questions? I think I already share with you and examples, the writing and also the slide presentation. So kalau you have your publication, maybe your lecturer join you in competition or what so you can put this after thank you tu kan. After you finish your conclusion, you can put the awards received kan. So what will be the awards, or you have publication, you can share in the slides. in your slides there, you can put it there, what you have achieved. Maybe you have achieved something that, okay, I'll show you one of my students. Okay, 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 this is what she put here. So after she seek recommendation, kan, lepas recommendation, dia letak pun list of publication and conference. So you can put here list of award. So this will make the examiner like me, or this student is some student lah. So she put here all her publication. So publication, she have 4 publication, all are Scopus index, and one is non-Scopus. And her conference are 3 conference. So this is my student lah, because my name is there, Zul Arif is there. So I'm waiting for my student FYP. Her paper is accepted, then she can put here. Okay, this is good thing that it makes your examiner thinks, oh, this student is someone lah. Because I found out that some of you won awards or whatsoever, you can put inside here also. Yeah? You just put here list of publication, conferences and awards, and you put here whatever you have achieved, and then thank you. Boleh? Kalau ada lah. Kalau tak ada tak apa, just until here pun cukup dah. Recommendation, thank you. Okay. So any questions? So hopefully you can do your best. If you still tak clear lagi, you can come and see me, make an appointment. I'm welcome to assist you lah. Shanim, kalau tak faham, boleh jumpa saya lagi. Ataupun email me, or you can email me and I'll go through je lah. I cannot go one by one. This is the task of your supervisor, not me. For me, I'm only in charge of my students, 4 of them. Okay, any questions? Okay. Questions? Ada lagi? I give you times. Pertaining the LR or pertaining the review. So how many journals is required for? Okay, if you look at Nisa just now, my previous students. So her numbers of journals that she put into is berapa? Oh ni. Oh, she did not put the page. But we can assume 1 page, 2 page, 3 page, 4 page, 5 page, 6 page. 6 muka surat untuk reference dia. Maknanya kalau satu ni kata kalau ada maybe 15, so we can seek around 70 to 80 journals lah. Banyak lah journal. So around 70 to 80 journals lah. So kalau you dapat 30, itu level assignment boleh lah kan. So in your level, you should need have 50 and above lah. That is better. 50 will be the margin. Maximum will be 100 lah. So my student got 70. I don't know currently my student how much they got. Akila, Swami, Akila, Anawai, Hanif and also Amar. Okay. If there is nothing, macam mana? Shall we take picture, Man? We want to take picture or not? Can we take picture? Can you all clear your faces so that we can take picture? Boleh? Shanim, tunjukkan awak tu. Pakai mask pun tak apa, tak pakai mask pun tak apa. Cepat. Because this is recorded, so nanti diorang kata saya cakap sorang-sorang. So please show your faces fast. And sekejap je for picture. Boleh Can you show your pictures? Sekejap je. Mana gambar-gambar anda? Gambar Shanim seorang je. Shanim mana yang lain? So please share your pictures before we close our class. Boleh share. Ada gambar. Can you open your camera? Itu word je. Can you open your camera? Shanim mana Shanim? Gambar awak. Dalam bilik ke? Shanim. Akilah. Mana? Amar. Cepat ni kan orang tanya ni gambar mana?
Ya doktor, ada sini doktor.
Lain lagi ni. Yang lain mana lain? Hanif mana Hanif?
Hanif line slow.
Dia left Akilah Suami. Lain lagi. Siapa lagi? Ada tak? Gambar lain. Mana ni? Shanim mana Shanim? Shanim? Ada gambar lain orang lain ada? Mak, tak ada?
Line slow doktor.
Ada.
Hanif line tak ada Hanif. Hanif tak ada line.
Tak, ada gambar tak? Saya tak nampak lah. Saya tak nampak gambar orang lain ni.
Ada gambar, ada gambar.
Ada gambar banyak. Tak gambar?
Ada. Gambar.
Nanti forward kat saya.
Sekejap.
Saya tak boleh buka gambar pula. Nanti forward kat saya.
Boleh.
Okay, cepat.
Okay, ready?
Beraksilah anda semua. Semua dah buka kamera
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, one more time. 1, 2,
Sekali lagi.